what I'm going to discuss is people's understanding of what they can do with their calories. And there's this notion that it has to be regimented and strict. And if you go off piste and you have, it seems to be alcohol and chocolate at the minute. Everyone wants alcohol and chocolate. That even if you're keeping that alcohol and that chocolate within the calories that I've set you, that's classed as being naughty, or you're failing in some respect, when that's really not the case. If you're able to, let's say for instance, if you, just for argument's sake, let's say Susan has 2,000 calories to eat. Susan's a bit of a wino and she likes chocolate. Now, I'm a stranger. I can't come along and all of a sudden say to Susan, right, no more wine, no more chocolate. One, how sustainable is that? And two, she's probably going to have wine and chocolate, lie to me and tell me she didn't have wine and chocolate, and then start scratching her head, or I'm going to be scratching my head wondering why she's not losing the weight that she wanted to lose. So wouldn't it be better if we could keep in the little bits of the things that she likes without having that thought process that it's naughty or she's doing something wrong? Here's how. So, for argument's sake, let's say that you ate all your 2,000 calories from wine and chocolate. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should do this because that's a silly idea. However, just from a perspective of science and weight loss, we're only talking about weight loss here. Don't get me wrong, you'll feel like crap because you've only had chocolate and wine for a week. Um, you will still lose weight. But in people's minds, I'm eating chocolate and I'm drinking wine, so this is bad, this is naughty. There's no way I could possibly lose weight, but you can. So the best way to go about it is, let's say, for instance, you are on 2,000 calories. Your protein is the most important thing when it comes to what you need to be making up your calories with. Okay, so for argument's sake, let's say Susan is on 150 grams of protein. That means that for every gram of protein, that's 4 calories. So that would be 600 calories out of her 2,000 calories. So this is going to leave her with 1,400 calories. Now, genuinely, you can do whatever you like with those 1,400 calories. If you wanted to piss it up the wall and have wine, if you wanted to have chocolate, then that is your choice. But do bear in mind, there will be a physiological result from that, because you'll feel like crap. You know, the more nutrient dense foods that we take on board, the lucky Susan with her 2,000 calories, you'll feel like crap. So the more nutrient dense foods that you choose, the better you're going to feel. Obviously, sleep's going to be optimal. You're going to recover better. Um, Also, the calorie density of the food is also important. So let's say you are chinning lots of wine and lots of chocolate. Your volume of food that you're going to eat is going to decrease because these choices that you've gone for are very calorie dense. So it reduces the size of your portions or the amount that you can eat that day. So be wise. You know, play around with it, but be wise. The extra calories that you've got left after you've hit your protein target, yes, you can eat whatever you like from them. However, understand that how you feel as a result of what you've eaten is extremely important, because let's be honest, the live that we did last week was all about motivation. Now, if you're waking up in the morning feeling like crap because you've not had a good night's sleep, and your body is still aching 4 days later after a workout, 5 days later after a workout, something should ping in your head and think that you're not recovering optimally. And the reason that you're not recovering optimally is because you're not putting the right fuel in. It's like the car, for instance. I always use a car as an example, as an analogy. We treat our cars better than we treat our bodies. You wouldn't put the wrong fuel in your car. How many times have you put petrol in a diesel car? If you have, you're an idiot. But You don't do it, do you? Because it wouldn't run correctly. So why do we put the wrong fuel in our body and it not run correctly, but we still continue to do this? Genuinely, how you feel and how you think, even how you think, a lot of it is down to what you put in your body. Craig's just said, I find getting the protein targets are hard without going down the shake/supplement route. Yeah, that's something that I get with a lot of people, mate. Protein is always the one that people struggle to hit, especially, if you're a bigger person. Craig carries a lot of muscle. He's a big lad, so his protein requirement is quite high. And you're doing the right thing already, mate. You're supplementing. Aside from eating protein in every single meal, which I know you are doing, supplementation with protein shakes is definitely the best route to go. And I think one of the biggest things that I'm getting with people at the moment is they're worrying about they're hitting their protein target and they've got calories left over and they're concerned about going over the protein target. Some people, Craig, I know you're not that person, but it doesn't matter if you go over your protein. I'm not bothered about that. I'm more bothered about you coming under. I should probably explain why. So when we lose weight, we don't really want to be losing muscle tissue or whatever muscle tissue we do have. So let's just say that when you start, your muscle tissue is here and your fat tissue is here, okay? What you want to be doing, you want to be bringing that fat tissue down, which will create that leaner look. You're leaner, so you'll reveal the muscle tissue that's underneath. That's if you are taking on board the right amount of protein, because protein is there to preserve the muscle that you have when you're in a calorie deficit, which if your goal is a fat loss goal, then you are in a calorie deficit, or at least you should be. So this is the starting point. Fat tissue, muscle tissue, this is what we want to happen. We want to close this gap. But if the protein isn't sufficient within your body, this is what will happen. Okay, you see how both will come down. Muscle tissue will come down and fat tissue will come down simultaneously, or more one of the other. And you won't really get that desired look of, well, I've been training and I'm in a calorie deficit. You'll go skinny, but you won't get that toned look. You won't get that athletic look if that's what you're looking for. And I'm sure that most people would prefer that than a skinny look. So that's the reason that it's really, really important to keep your protein as high as I've set it. Do your best to get that in. So I hope that's explained. And the reason I've touched on this is because, Lizzie, I know that you were one of the people that you were feeling a little bit bad because you were eating chocolate and you were drinking wine, so you felt like you were cheating, but you were keeping the wine and the chocolate in your calories. You're winning. You're not cheating there. You were only cheating if, well, you're not cheating. Even if you were to go over your calories, it doesn't matter. You're not cheating. Just make sure that you make allowances for it the next day. But quite a few people have said the same thing. I put the question out there. Most people agreed that you're winning, but 23% of people in the poll that I did on social media, they believed that you were cheating. So it just shows the mentality that chocolate is bad and wine is bad. No food is inherently bad. It's the overconsumption of anything. So if I've had people come to me and on the surface of it, they're eating really good food, really good produce. They're having, veggies for the breakfast and eggs and, really what we deem as healthy food, but they're putting weight on. Scratching their head, how's this happening? I'm eating healthy. And they are. They're choosing nutrient-dense choices, but they're eating too much of it. So this can still make you fat. This can still pile on the pounds, no matter how much smoked salmon you eat and avocado and sourdough bread you eat. It doesn't matter if you're eating too much of it. So does that then make that an unhealthy meal because it's made us fat? Just like if I say, Susan, let's use Susan again. Susan's been eating, she's been eating McDonald's breakfast every day, but she's still losing fat. Does that then make McDonald's breakfast healthy because she lost weight on it? No, it doesn't. It just meant that she ate that McDonald's breakfast within her energy requirement, her calories that she needed to be in a calorie deficit. And that's all it comes down to. There are so many bullshit things out there that will promise you the world when it comes to fat loss. And everything, every single diet on the planet has one thing in common, and it's a calorie deficit. As long as you eat a little bit less than what you do in the day, you will lose weight, regardless of what you do eat, as long as it is within those numbers. But remember, how you feel is important as well. Don't know, I might be able to have to do pull-ups if I was skinny. Trust me, Craig, you being skinny, mate, it would not be a good look. Restriction will in most cases lead to overeating when it comes to having that cheat meal. Yeah, and I see that you put the word cheat in quotations. 100% right. Restriction doesn't work. Let's look at something like the ketogenic diet, for instance. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell myself that I'm not going to eat bread, pasta, cakes, donuts, crisps. I'm literally just going to remove all the fun from my life in the interest of trying to lose fat. How sustainable is that? It's not sustainable. And this is why I try to tell everybody, the nutrition plan that I give you is there more of a guide. And if you can stick to it, great. And you can eat the same things every day, great. I like to eat the same things every day, but it's not sustainable. And people always say, so which is the best diet? And the best diet is genuinely the one that you can stick to. And it's one that is sustainable for the long term. It's not necessarily, it shouldn't be a diet. It should be something that you can welcome into your life and do forever. We're not saying completely cut everything you like out of your life. Here's your numbers. And as I've said in everyone's video that I've sent them when you first had your nutrition plan sent to you, your numbers are the most important thing. If you stick to the calories and your protein and use them however you like, take away wine, chocolate, or really, really strict, up to you, whatever's sustainable for your life, that will work. I can't make it any more simpler. You don't have to go down these routes of taking a complete entire food group like carbohydrates, because they're the devil and bread makes us fat apparently, taking them out of your diet and expecting it to be sustainable. Okay, Liv, are protein shakes and supplements just as good as protein from foods such as chicken, etc.? Right, so the answer is it depends. And that's always going to be the first part of the answer. It depends. A protein shake is really convenient. It's a lot more convenient than whipping out a chicken breast and chowing down on that. I know that, I train dentists, I train hairdressers, barbers, people like that who are on the feet all day and they can't really get that break where they can go and eat a chicken breast, but they can just bang down a protein shake. It's really about convenience when it comes to a protein shake. Okay, so Teresa, sometimes I struggle to actually eat all my calories. Right, so back to what we were saying about calorie density and nutrient density. Obviously, the more nutrient dense the food, a lot of the time, the less calories that food's going to have. So let's say if I was aiming to have 1,000-calorie meal, my appetite isn't amazing. And for me to eat what we deem as clean foods, so really non-processed foods, for me to eat 1,000 calories of that, that's a lot of food. It's very overfacing and I probably wouldn't be able to eat it. So what I do is I will probably have something a little bit more processed, or I will go down the fats route, for instance, because as I said earlier, carbohydrates, every gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories, every gram of protein is 4 calories, but every gram of fats is 9 calories. So you're getting a little bit more bang for your buck when it comes to calories. If you're struggling to eat the amount of calories I've given you, then maybe go down the fats route and you'll use up your calories very quickly, but the volume of food won't be that big. I hope that answered your question. Lizzie, as you say, dude, it's all about balance, feeling less guilty now and being confident that I'm not a fat pie. You're definitely not a fat pie, Lizzie. Another thing I wanted to touch on just briefly, the physiological aspect of training. Now, I got involved in a conversation on social media the other day about this, and yeah, great, let's all get up moving for the physical aspect of it and the health aspect of it. But what about the mental health aspect of it? If you're sitting around on your ass all day, then you're gonna feel a bit shit. Even if we weren't in lockdown, you're gonna feel a bit crappy. As opposed to getting up in the morning, get out, have a walk. If you're not going on a walk, do a session. You will feel better. You will release lots of endorphins. You will get your heart rate up, and you'll feel better about yourself. I think that should be the most important thing that we're concentrating on now. That aspect, doing it for that result rather than the physiological result. The psychological result for me, I guess, is probably it's more important. The other side of it, that's just a byproduct. You know, how we feel physically as a result of training. For me right now, that's a byproduct. But definitely training for your mind is what I think the emphasis should be on. And if we lose the weight along the way and you're still able to fit in the foods that you really like and you're sticking within your calories, then everything's win-win. Lizzie agreed. As someone who's working for the NHS, myself within mental health, it's so important at the moment to recognise we need to talk about it. So a video for all your clients may be really useful, dude. Yeah, I agree, mate. But I don't want to. I want to give it the attention it deserves. I don't want to just do a little bit in something that this one was about calories and making people understand that they're in control and they can do with their food what they choose with my guidance. I want the mental health thing, because it's such a poignant thing at the moment. I want that to have its own place, its own video. So we'll do that next week, or I'll put an actual video up of just me speaking to the camera rather than having questions, and people can comment on the video itself. Right, guys, thanks very much for tuning in. Thank you for everybody joining in, and I will see you next week. Stay home, stay safe.